Hello guys, it's Code Duchess right here and welcome back to another YouTube video. So in this video I'm going to be giving you inspo on how to create your profile. We're going to start this video by creating a folder on our desktop. So we're going to say new folder, and this folder we're going to name it portfolio design. Now we have our folder ready. We're going to head over to the Visual Studio Code text editor. On our text editor, we're going to head over to new file, and we're going to create an index.html file. So I'm going to press Shift asterisk. So what the Shift asterisk does is to generate basic HTML structure. So we're going to head over here and say style.css. We're creating our CSS file. In our HTML head, we're going to add a link tag to link our CSS file to our HTML file. Once that is done, we're going to install a live server extension. So what this does is to help us view the local server on the browser. So if you've not installed yours, you need to install it, but for me, mine is already installed, so I'm just going to close here up quickly. In our body, we're going to create a nav tag, which is going to house the navigation bar and the logo. So I'm just going to say navigation bar. Afterwards, we're going to have our nav tag. We're going to give this a class of nav bar. Afterwards, we're going to have a div. In this div is where we're going to have our logo. So we're going to say h1. And we're just going to give it portfolio. You could replace this with your name at this point. We're going to give the h1 a class. The class, we're going to give it a class of logo. Below the closing div, we're going to have an unordered list, which is ul. We're going to give this unordered list a class of menu. Afterwards, we're going to have 4 links in it, so we're just going to give it an li tag. And in the link tag, we're also going to put an ahref tag. Then we're going to duplicate this 3 times. So you're just going to say shift alternate down, 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 the down arrow key. So we're going to name our first link home, which is linking to /. We're also going to name this resume. And this one is going to be for projects. This way you're going to store your projects. And this one is going to be for contact. It's a contact page for people to contact you. So I'm quickly going to just fill up this ahref tag. So that's done. We are done with creating our simple nav bar, and I'm just going to click on this button that says go live. So it's going to automatically open our browser, and there you go, our logo and our links. So let's style our nav bar. I'm going to head over to CSS. On my CSS file, I'm going to target all, which is asterisk, parenthesis, and then we're going to have a padding 0. That means all the elements should have defaultly no padding and I'm also going to say margin 0. I'm going to say box size in border box. I also have a custom route for all the colors I'll be using on this project. I'm making use of 6 colors, so I'm quickly just gonna fill this up. At this point, you can pause the video. We're also going to have a gradient color which we'll use throughout this tutorial. So I'm just going to say gradient. I'm going to say linear gradient for it to have 2 colors. I'm going to say to right, that is, you should head towards the right. Comma. Then we're just going to quickly grab this blue color. So blue color, comma. Then we're going to grab the pink color. So just say pink color. So that will be all for our route. There you go. So that's going to be all for our route. So we would want to start styling the navigation bar. So I'm just quickly going to head over to my HTML, grab this up. Then we're going to target this navbar class. In the navbar class, first of all, we're going to say display flex. We're also going to give it a justified content of space between. So it's displayed flex and there's a huge space in between them. We're going to give it an align item center. So it's going to be centered vertically. We're also going to give it a padding of 20 px and 100 px. Okay, so it has 20 px from top and bottom, left and right. It has 100 px. We're also going to give this a position relative. In our HTML, we're quickly going to grab the logo. Let's say dot logo. In the logo, we're going to give it a font size of 25 px. We're also going to have a gradient class that we're going to be using all through this code. So we're going to give this a class of gradient text. We're saying the background color is going to be our gradient color. We're also setting the WebKit background clip to text. The WebKit background clip property is for the background to extend within the element. So we're going to set it to text. We're also going to give this another WebKit, and this time it's text fill color. So you're just going to say WebKit. and we're going to set this to transparent. So what this does is it controls the fill color of the text, setting it to transparent, thereby making the text color invincible. Align whatever is behind the text, which is this background color, to show through the transparent text. And again, we're gonna have a background clip text, resetting it to text once more. So what the background clip text does is it clips the background to the shape of the text, enabling the text to have a background that conforms to its later forms. It kind of like outlines the text to take the form of the text. So that's going to be all for the linear gradient, and we're just going to grab this class and give it to our h1. So we're just going to grab this, go over to the index.html. After the logo, we're just going to say space gradient text. So guys, we made a mistake in the background. We say background color, it's supposed to be just the background. There you go. Our logo has both colors. We quickly go back to the HTML and grab this menu. Say dot menu. And we're just gonna give it a list style none. What this does is it removes all the styles on the list. So there you go, it's gone. And we're gonna say display flex. Put it on one line. Afterward, we're just gonna give it a gap to have spaces in between them, and this time it's gonna be 16 pixels. So we're gonna target this menu once more, but this time the ahref. So we're gonna say menu li a. That is the menu, which is the parent container. The list, which is also a parent container to the ahref. And this time we're gonna say text decoration none. So ahref defaultly comes with an underline under it, so we're just gonna remove that quickly there. And quickly we're gonna give it a color. We're gonna be making use of the gray color this time, and we're gonna say font size 16 pixels. We're also going to be giving it a font weight of 400. Beautiful. So at this junction, we are done with styling our navigation bar, which is also our header. So we're going to go over to the HTML and close this. We're going to have another section, which is the hero section. So we're gonna name this profile hero section. In this hero section, we're just gonna have a section. The section should have a class, and the class should be hero section. We're quickly going to open this and give this an aside. In the aside, we're gonna have a p tag. And we're gonna give it a class named skills. So we're just going to write some random skills that one should have. So we're just gonna say design, development, and marketing. So that we're gonna have another p tag, and we're just gonna say class. In the class, we're just gonna give it a caption. I'm gonna say I can help your business too. Below that, we're gonna have a hashtag, and we're gonna give it a class of gradient text. I'm also going to give it another class of heading. And in here we will say get online and grow fast. So below the H1 we're going to have a div. This div we're going to give it a button. So just going to say button. This button we're going to give it a class of btn, which is a short form of button in programming. We're just going to give it another class called blue btn, which is blue button. We're going to duplicate this and give this a white btn class, because both buttons are going to have different colors and slightly different styling. So we're just going to say resume, and below here we're going to say projects. The aside is done. We're also going to have another section in the aside, and we're going to name it main. This section will house the picture. So we're going to give it a class called BG profile. So this div is going to be empty because it's going to be the background for our avatar image or our profile image. We're going to say profile image. In this profile image, we're going to have an image tag. And at this junction, I'm going to import my images from my desktop, but the GitHub link is below on the description where you can get this image. You could also replace this with your personal image. So I'm quickly going to grab my image. So in my SRC, I'm just going to head over to the image folder and say profile. So at this point, we are done styling this hero section. Let's view the browser. We head over to the CSS to start styling it. So in here, I'm going to grab the hero section. See that hero section. We're gonna have a width of 100%. We're also gonna have a height of 100% as well. Afterwards, we're gonna say display flex. And justify content center. Yes, we're gonna have align items. We're gonna put it center. We're gonna give it a pattern to the top, and we're gonna say 40 pixels so that there's gonna be a space between it and the navbar. Cool. Also, these items are actually aligned to the center. I'm quickly going to grab my image because it's too large. So I'm going to grab this image. So I'm just going to say profile image. And I'm going to say image. And here I'm going to give this a width of 300 pixels. So I'm going to try this out. Cool. So I want to give it a height of 400 pixels. Cool. So I'm going to go over here and say gap. This is to give a space between the aside and the image. So I'm just going to say gap 100 pixels. There, I have the gap of 100 pixels. So I'm done styling the hero section. I'm gonna go over here and grab the aside. So I'm gonna give this aside a weight of 400 pixels. Okay. I'm also gonna grab the scale and I'm gonna give it a background, and I'm gonna give it the gradient for the background. There you go. I'm also gonna say color. I'm gonna give it a white color. So I'm just gonna say for white color. I'm also gonna say width to fit the content. I'm now gonna give this a padding. So I wanna have a padding of 4px for top and bottom, 8px for left and right. I'm gonna give it a border radius of 8px. Yeah, both left and right are curved. Now I want to give it a font size of small to reduce the text. I'm also going to reduce this border radius to 5px. Perfect. Afterward, I'm going to say text transform, uppercase to keep all of them in capital. There. Afterwards, I'm going to head over to the HTML and grab this caption. So I'm just going to say dot caption. I'm going to give this a font size of 20 pixels. I'm also going to give this a color of gray. I'm going to give this a font weight of 300 pixels to make it lighter. This is going to have a margin, and in the top and the bottom I'm going to give this 20 pixels. Then the left and right is 0 so that it can have space in between. So that'll be all for the caption, and we're just going to get over here and grab this heading. Say dot heading. And we're going to give this a font size of 50 pixels. It's going to be a very large heading. There. It also has the same gradient that we've been using. We're going to start the buttons now. And we're just going to grab this first button class. So the both buttons are going to have a width of 100 pixels. They're also going to have a padding of 16 pixels. They're going to have a border radius of 5 pixels. They're going to have a font size of small. They're also going to have a margin top to give it space at the top of 20 pixels. So it has a space now. You're also going to give it a hover property. So say btn hover. You're just going to say transform and translate y 5px. scale 1.05. So this is gonna take it upward in the y-axis. That's why we say translate y, and we say minus 5px. That is gonna go this way, and we also give it a scale to increase the size a bit. We're also gonna come here and give it a transition. We say it should transform with 0.3 seconds, and the transform should be ease in. So this is going to make it go upward a bit slower, and that's the ease in. You see it's kind of different than the last. It's much more better. We're quickly going to start styling the buttons, and we're going to head over to the HTML and say blue button. We're going to give a background color of blue. We're also going to give it a color of white. We're going to say border none. We don't want any border. Buttons to come with the default border. We're also going to say margin right, 20 pixels. We want to give it a space by the right so that the buttons is going to have a space basically. So we're going to quickly grab the white button here. It's just saying white button. We're gonna give this a background color of white. We're also gonna give it a border of 1 pixels, solid, and black color. There you go. The button looks great. Now we're gonna be styling this image background. But first of all, we're gonna head over to this main and give it a position of relative. You're also gonna quickly just grab this background profile. We're gonna say background. We're also going to give this a position of absolute weight of 350 pixels. This is going to have a height as well. I'm just going to say 90%. We're going to give this a Z index of -1. So it's going to appear behind this image. We're going to give this a border radius of 50 pixels. And then we're going to say bottom 0. There you go. You're just going to quickly correct this and move this over here. That's a mistake. There you go. Remove extra spaces. So at this point, we're gonna grab this profile image container. And we're gonna give this a position relative. We're also gonna give this a weight of 350 pixels and a height 400 pixels. We're gonna head over to the profile image and say display block, and we're gonna give this a margin of 0 and auto. This is to move the image to the middle of this background. So there, we're done styling this image, but we're just gonna add some extra. So we're gonna head over to the BG profile and we're gonna have an image tag, and the image we're gonna be using is .1. It's also going to have a class of dot and .1. I'm going to duplicate this and give this .2. Head over to our CSS and style. So I'm going to say dot position absolute. I'm going to give it a weight of a max weight actually of 250 pixels. I'm also going to give this a max height of 150 px. Then I'm going to give this an object fit. And I'm gonna say contain. So here you could kind of see something right there. There too actually. So I'm gonna head over and say .1. I'm gonna say left 65%. Let's make this 70. And I'm gonna say top 10%. I'm also gonna say .2. This is gonna be right. 70% away from the right. And I'm just gonna say bottom 5%. Lovely. I'm also gonna have another one, but it's gonna be in the profile image div, and I'm just gonna say image, and I'm gonna say .2. Also gonna give this a class as well of dot. Then I'm gonna say .3. Duplicate once and say 4. We're gonna add spacing there. So I'm gonna head over here and say .3. I'm gonna say right 50% and bottom 10%. Okay, I'm gonna increase this over 57 there. Then for .4, I'm just gonna say .4. It's gonna have a left. Let's say 57% on the top of, let's say 15 there. So at this point we're done styling the desktop view of our project. So let's head over to start styling the tablet view. So in here I'm just gonna give this a comment and say tablet view. I'm also gonna open the tablet view. I'm gonna just say F12 Then I'm going to change this dimension to iPad mini. So it's on iPad mini, and first thing I'm going to do is to change this to a hamburger menu. So I'm going to head over to my HTML. In my nav bar above my menu, I'm going to have a button. So I'm just going to say button. So we're going to give this a class of hamburger and an ID of hamburger as well. We're also going to give this menu an ID of menu. Then we head over to our browser to view our hamburger. So there you go. Here's our hamburger. Now we're going to head over to our CSS. We want to actually remove those nav bar. So in this tablet view, we're just going to say add media. We're going to give it a max width of 768 pixels. This is the standard max width for tablet view. And we're just going to say display none. So we want our menu to be disappeared in our tablet view. So as you can see, we have no menu anymore. So we're going to quickly just style our hamburger. So I'm just going to say that hamburger. And I'm going to give this a font size of 30 pixels. Okay, it has a font size of 30 pixels. And I'm going to say background none to remove the background. I'm also going to say border none to remove the border. I'm also going to say cursor pointer and display none for the desktop view. I'm also going to head over here and say that hamburger and give this a display block. So it's going to be displayed on the tablet view, but anything larger than that, it's not going to be displayed. You also want to style our nav bar, so I'm just going to say dot nav bar. We want to change the padding, and I'm just going to say padding 10 pixels, 20 pixels. So let's check that out. We also want to add JavaScript to our code, so we're just going to head over here and create a script file. So we're just going to say script.js. In our HTML, we are going to, so we're just going to go over here, create a script tag. And here we're just going to say src and link the script.js. So in our script.js, we're going to have a document dot add event listener. We're going to say DOM content loaded, comma, function. So what this does is it ensures that the script runs after the entire HTML document has been loaded. This is crucial because it prevents the script from trying to access the elements that has not yet been rendered on this DOM. So on the second line, we're just gonna say var hamburger. So this is the hamburger. We're gonna grab from the nav section. You're just gonna say it's equals to document dot get element by ID, and the ID is hamburger. So what this line of code does is it selects the HTML with the ID of hamburger, which is this one here. It selects the HTML with the ID of hamburger, which is typically the button that is used to open and close the navigation bar or menu. Then we're just gonna have another one here, and we're just gonna say var, and we're gonna grab this menu. So you're just gonna say var menu is equals to document dot get element by ID menu. So what this does again, it selects the HTML with the ID menu, which is the actual navigation bar that will be toggled by this hamburger. We're also gonna say hamburger dot add event listener, which is going to listen for a click event. So when this button is clicked, it's going to fire a function, and this function is going to list the menu. So it's just going to say menu.classList.toggle and active. So what this menu.classList.toggle active does is when you click the hamburger icon, it will open the menu if it's closed, and if it's open, it will close the menu. So let's go over this again. The document.add event listener DOM content loaded function. What this line of code does is it ensures that the script runs after the entire HTML document has been loaded. Then on line 2, we are selecting the HTML with the ID of hamburger, which is the button that's going to be used to toggle, close, or open the menu. Line 3, we are selecting the menu, the element that has the ID of menu, which is what is going to be displayed. Then here we're going to say this hamburger, we're going to bring it over here, and we're going to listen for an event, which is a click event. So we're going to listen for the hamburger to be clicked, and once this hamburger is clicked, it's going to fire a function which is going to display this menu over here. It's going to display this menu classlist.toggle active. So if this menu.classlist.toggle active is closed, what this is going to do is going to open it, and if it's opened, it's going to close this. So we head over to our CSS now, and we're just going to say .menu.active .active. We are grabbing this active over here. So this means .menu.active. We're gonna give it a display flex, which shows this hamburger when it's clicked. Remember, the menu is displayed none, but once this menu is clicked, it's going to be displayed flex. So we're gonna head over to our browser, and click this hamburger. So it's working. We also want to style this. So we're gonna head over back to the CSS and say position. Gonna give it absolute. We're still gonna give this a flex direction of column. As you can see here, it's displaying in column. We're gonna give this a width of 100%. We're also gonna give this a top 50 pixels. So as you can see, it's 50 pixels to the top. We're gonna give this a background color of white. So you just say bar color white. There. I want to give this a pattern of 20 pixels. We also want to give this a Z index of 10. There. We want to give this a left of 0 pixels. As you can see, it's perfectly aligned. Then we head over here and say text align center. It has aligned all the text to the center. Then we are gonna say border top. You're just gonna say 2 pixels, solid, blue color. Beautiful. So we're done styling the active menu. We're gonna head over to this hero section and say hero section. Give this a flex direction of color. Just gonna say align items center. So when the flex direction is on column, the justify content becomes the align items, and the align items becomes the justify content. We're also gonna give this a full width of 100%. And we're gonna give this a gap 40 pixels so that the gap between them is gonna be a little bit shorter. I also want to give this a padding of 20 pixels. Okay, the pattern is okay. Then we're gonna head over here and grab this aside. You're just gonna say aside. In the aside, we're just gonna say text align center. This is going to align all my text to the center. We're also gonna say width 100 pixels, 100%. It's had a width of 400% initially here, so we want to give this a width of 100%. So just say width 100%. So it's taking 100%. That is from here to here. Then we're gonna just say margin right 0. After we're done styling the aside, I want to style the scale, which is this div over here. I want to put it to the center, and I'm just gonna say dot scales, and I'm gonna say margin 0 for the top and bottom, then auto for the left and right. So it's just going to automatically take it to the middle, giving it an equal left and right spacing. That's all for the skills. I'm going to quickly head over to the caption. I'm just going to say margin 10 pixels 0. So this is going to reduce the spaces in between it. Initially I gave it a margin of 40 pixels, I think. So guys, that will be all for this tablet view. So we're going to quickly change our dimensions to mobile view. I'm going to be using the iPhone SE. We're also going to close up this. Come over here and say mobile view. So I'm going to say add media, and I'm going to say max width of 437 pixels. I'm going to be targeting this heading over here. I want to reduce the size of the heading, so I'm just going to say heading and size 26 pixels. So the font size has been reduced. I'm also going to be targeting this profile image, so I'm just going to say dot profile image. I want to give it a width of 250 pixels and a height of 300 pixels. Then I want to target the profile image, so I'm just going to say dot profile image. I want to give this a width of 200 pixels and a height of 300 pixels. So let's check that out. It's been reduced. Then we're going to target this background profile. So we're just going here and say .bg profile. We're going to give this a width of 250 pixels. I'm also going to give this a margin 0 and auto for it to move to the center. Then for the hero section, I'm just gonna say overflow hidden to remove anything that is making it big. Lastly, I'm gonna target the dot, and I'm gonna give it a max width of 180 pixels. There we go. So at this point we are done with the tutorial. So guys, this is the end of my tutorial. Thank you for watching. I want you to like, follow, share, add your comments and thoughts, and stay tuned for more. I'm Code Duchess, and goodbye.